Alright, LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Well, I have really complicated relationship with LinkedIn, and it evolved around the years, through the years. Pardon my English. But the thing is, recently I just pretty sure that I know how to use it, how to use it right. But I have experienced the whole spectrum of nonsense on LinkedIn, and today I'm gonna give it to you in just one package. So, starting off with that LinkedIn is not for certificates. Why? Well, let me tell you, and let me tell you how it all started, and why is it that LinkedIn is weird, and how is it evolved to what they call a clown show, and especially what we can do about that. So, LinkedIn started as a professional networking, and now they call it the clown show. And this is not my term, actually. It is used in a couple of articles, a couple of YouTube videos. The clown show, which is, well, absolutely the opposite of what you would expect from a platform for professional networking. Not only that, but now LinkedIn is a symbol for cringe. And cringe for me is not someone sharing a weird detail about their life or a weird tip and trick. It is the repetition in it. And I can almost now guarantee what is the content that someone is writing in a LinkedIn post after you tell me just like 2 words about the topic. And it's gonna be as that. I am an aspiring a neurophysician, a neurosurgeon, aspiring, I don't know, developer, whatever. You always use the word aspiring. Or we can announce something, it's gonna be, I'm thrilled to announce why, as an X and Y. I found this really not only not authentic, but what they call it spurious, which is something that lack authenticity and make use that assume that it's not trustworthy. It's just the same word, the same terms using over and over and over again. The same way it is presented and the same way the people digest it until everyone is fed. And now, since everyone is doing the same thing, welcome to the clown show and to the cringe. So, how did such a downfall happen? Well, there is 2 levels to it. And we're gonna start with the algorithm level. The thing is, LinkedIn algorithm favors cringe. So if you're cringe, if you're writing something that is actually categorized as weird, and you will never say that, not to other human being face to face, you will not even say that out loud, this is what the algorithm will usually pick. So let's get an example.
Influencer put out?
It was like a personal finance hack on how to save money living in New York City. So I said that every day I go to a different hotel in Manhattan and I go eat their continental breakfast, and then I sign off on some random room number. I don't actually do this, but I wrote on LinkedIn like I did. Post it, go to sleep, wake up the next day, over 1 million views. It went viral.
Jack's parody posts point out an underlying truth about LinkedIn thought leadership. Authenticity matters a lot less than being good at writing the specific type of posts that the algorithm is horny for.
I feel like
So it doesn't matter if what you're writing is authentic or not about you. It doesn't even matter if it's true or not. If you just give the content that the algorithm wants, you popped. You're on the top page now. And this lady is actually a LinkedIn representative or an expert by some sort.
it exists in such an odd place because of the very obvious acting that happens on there. LinkedIn is a platform that's maybe even meant to be your most authentic self, and it feels like people are putting on a performance more than any other platform.
So if this is the state of...
So, people putting in a performance to feed the algorithm. And this is our problem as an individuals. This is the problem on our individual levels, is that we're putting on a performance. All of what we present on LinkedIn is actually a persona. Okay, so psychology background, psychology 101. What is a persona? Well, if you look at this rather illustration, we see that you have the self, and it has two components: your ego and your shadow. Your ego is what you present to the world. Your shadow, you might even not even know your shadow. It is so much in the unconscious. But people don't usually deal with your ego. Sometimes some people can point to you and be like, ha, ego. But the thing is, it doesn't usually appear. What is always on display is your persona. Once you leave your room, once you have people around you, you're not alone. What you have on is a persona. And this is a better representation for it. A persona is the mask that you wear in public. Deeper to that is your conscious, which is your part of it is your ego, and really deep to it is your shadow. And persona as a mask is not actually a coincidence. Look at that. This is the definition of persona. Persona originated from theatrical mask. So back on the Roman and Greek drama, these great theaters, a man, in order to act as if he's a woman, what he had to do is just wear a mask. If he had to act as if he's like a warrior, he just wear a mask. So persona originated from a mask, and it represents what it is that you reflect. Going back to the LinkedIn part, all of us has this mask on. Once we open LinkedIn, all of us somehow we act as if we are the expert. And this results in, what is it? Cringe.
I don't think the algorithm will ever favor just like normal sort of storytelling. And so I think we'll see more people emulate the Adam Grants of the world and talk like they're experts. And that's usually how it all starts. It's like if you talk like you are a thought leader, then you are a thought leader.
I think LinkedIn has.
So, why is it people act as if they are a thought leader if they are not? Why is it we force that we are experts? Well, there's two reasons that I came to. One is that I'm actually a sinner of, which is sometimes you just say something that doesn't represent what it is that you think, what that you assume, just because it does fit, and it will make you fit with the people around you, which is simply a part of the persona. At some dinner, I was at the table with the most diverse minds from the Middle East. So every one of them is from another country, and if you know something about the Middle East is that we have a lot of drama across the years, wars and so forth. So they asked me a question, and I had another friend who was also Egyptian. So they asked both of us, those people who just represent the entire rest of the countries in the Middle East, and they asked us a question, and it has to do with certain thing that is crucial. I know the answer that I want to know deep down, and I have this other answer that I know that will make all of those people, each one of them representing his country, happy. So what I did, I stood up at that table, at dinner table, just imagine it, stood up and I said a speech for around 2 minutes, and I ended up having a huge applause. What did I say? Absolute BS. I did not believe in a word of what I said. I only said it because it will get their likes. But the thing is, on LinkedIn, people do that for the likes. But people on the LinkedIn for what? For the work, for the job, for the career. The thing is, this will not pay the rent if you're just spurious. So, what happens? They keep doing it for the likes, and sometimes yes, do like, sometimes no likes. At the very end, they're gonna develop what's called imposter syndrome. I am lying as a constant process. And what is happening? I look like everything's fine, but deep inside, I know that I'm not who I sound to be. When I stood at the dinner table, I said something that made, just imagine saying something in around 2 minutes and made the diverse background of the Middle East nationalities agree on it. That didn't happen for the last century. But when I did it, I felt really bad. I felt like a stab in the heart. So you cannot really do that. A stab in the heart and not paying rent on LinkedIn, where you go to be professional, is not the way to be it. So how we get to change that? Well, there are 3 points that you need to install in your mind. The first thing is that you're not on LinkedIn to imitate an expert, nor even to network. Just get the networking out of your head. It's not a networking place now. And you're not there to imitate an expert. You are there to be on the edge with those who constantly try to figure it out. Because according to the Pareto distribution, some people do most of the work. And those some people are mostly on LinkedIn, whatever your field is. So you want to know those people who lead the field. What is it they are doing day-to-day basis? What is it they are saying? What is their... with LinkedIn, he's simply notify you every minute if anyone in your network did anything. So when you are between and within this community who are figuring things out within a domain, trying to increase it, since they are on the edge, well, you will get to ask them questions. And that is the second thing. You are on LinkedIn to ask questions. Answer less, or even better, don't even answer. Don't try to be an expert. Don't give in your opinion or anything. Just ask questions. And this is what I've done, and I can show you an example right now. Okay. If I go to my messages, okay, so I have Mark. Mark is a data scientist, and I'm interested in data science because of my studying. As a medical student, I'm interested in research, so I'm doing biostatistics. So what Mark said was, main tech stack for data scientist 10 years ago, it was R. And the rest of the post, he said, now, after 10 years, it is Python and not R at all. So I was like, what happened to R? I spent some time and I'm really investing time to learn it. So can you please update me? Mark represents someone who is on the edge of data science, tech-wise and industry-wise. So he told me it is almost never used right now in the industry, only in academia. This piece of information I could have never have reached if I searched an article, ChatGPT, whatever it is, podcast. I simply inquired directly. And I did ask someone who is in the edge of that certain domain. And that's a huge win you get from LinkedIn. And for me to be able to ask that question and break my persona of, oh yeah, I am the expert, to the leading thought leader of PS, I have to give myself the freedom to be a beginner. So the 3 things that you need to do to navigate through LinkedIn is that you're not there to network. Nobody wants to know another human being. Just we're done with our networking so far. So why is it we are there? You are there to be among those who figure things out constantly. And when you're between them, you get to ask them questions. And when you get to ask, you get to be actually more competent, not a fraud. And the only way to do that is by allowing yourself to be a beginner. There's actually a good quote about that, which said, better to know you're a bad for a season while admitting you're a beginner than to pretend to be good for a lifetime. You don't suffer from imposter syndrome. You're a student and pretending to be a teacher. No students say they feel like frauds for trying to learn. You're a fraud when you try to teach the class and you haven't done it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to do it by allowing yourself to be beginners and to be on LinkedIn to see those people who are just on the edge and ask them directly and to ask questions. Now, regarding how you can properly do it, there's a guy named Matt Gray, and he's all in personal branding and courses on how to cultivate your persona online. And here, this is his takes. First step is that you have to get a clean headshot, just like the one I have on this YouTube channel and on my LinkedIn. So, if I go, okay, you can see it in here. See, it's just a headshot, nothing fancy. Just me trying. Here it is. Headshot, clean, everything nice. The second thing you need to do is your tagline. Your tagline needs to be precise. Stop it, Mr. Jack of all. And please don't use aspiring. So, I will show you the version that I had, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. I said medical student, researcher, data analyst. And this is simply bad. I mean, you need to pick just one thing that you need to do through that time of period when you're alive. And I chose to be, which is clear now, a physician neuroscientist. And this is in the becoming. And I will always be becoming that because it's a constant process of me being on the edge and pushing. So, what did Matt Gray also said? You need to define, give me your attention now. Because what he said is that every persona, exceptional doing persona on social media, has to own a word. For him, it is community building. For Ali Abdal, it is productivity. For Andrew Tate, it is kickboxing. You need to find also a word like that. And I would like to call it the defining word. Because when you know what it is that you want to talk about in one word, for me, maybe it is neuroscience or PhD or purpose. I get to unlock unlimited amount of content. Because if I have this word, for example, neuroscience, now I get to make lists, tools, facts, guides, systems, and all of that. I encourage you to take a screenshot about these words, and here I will get unlimited content to ask and inquire about in a post or in a DM. And when you try to post something, the questions that you have to ask yourself is that, why would one repost this? Or if you have seen it as a post, would you repost it? Because this is the explore for LinkedIn. Last but not least is that, this is actually a very interesting point, is that if we just open LinkedIn, the thing is, the first sentence is the one that most people are actually going to read. So, for example, introduction to Bayesian statistics. This is really boring way of saying it. Look, here Nemra did it great. Don't make this mistake as a beginner data analysis. She made a title, she gave a space, and she started. This is what the heading sentence Matt Gray recommends. You have to do it. So here it is, 200, Mr. Bayesian Statistics 3 or 30. The second thing that Matt Gray recommended is that feel free to use 5th grade kind of English. Don't be philosophical in a LinkedIn because you don't want to be cringe, do you? And on LinkedIn, you have to be yourself because this is what was intended to be. So the flashy videos and the graphics do not work, and this is also said by Matt Gray. And for me, that is my page. And this is my email. If you ever wanted to contact me, you'll always find it in the description. And actually, I 3 months ago, I took that pretty seriously. I was like, all right. I want to make a workflow to just make my LinkedIn as good as that of Lex Friedman, like top voice kind of thing. So I was like, that's nice. So I made a whole plan: 2 YouTube channels, TikTok account, affiliation, and people do it, and somebody's editing, and then I make an info product, and it was actually big. Listen, that was 5 months ago, but I actually changed my perspective, because I don't want to become the top on the LinkedIn, because that's a theoretical domain. What I want is to be among those who are on the edge of the knowledge at that time. I also want to have the ability to inquire and ask them. And lastly, I have to give myself the freedom to be a beginner.